Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to discuss an important public health issue that affects millions globally: dengue fever and other Aedes-borne arboviruses. Dengue fever is a viral illness transmitted primarily by Aedes mosquitoes, particularly Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus. These mosquitoes thrive in tropical and subtropical climates, often found in urban areas where standing water accumulates. This habitat allows them to breed easily, making them a significant vector for diseases. Aedes-borne arboviruses encompass a group of viruses transmitted by Aedes mosquitoes, including Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever. These viruses pose serious health risks, leading to debilitating illnesses and, in some cases, significant mortality. Globally, the impact of dengue and other Aedes-borne arboviruses is profound. According to the World Health Organization, dengue alone afflicts an estimated 390 million infections annually, with 96 million manifesting clinically. The consequences extend beyond human health, affecting healthcare systems, economies, and communities, particularly in regions where these diseases are endemic. With climate change and urbanization contributing to the spread of these mosquitoes, it is crucial that we understand and address the challenges posed by these viruses to protect public health. Let's delve deeper into this topic and explore the implications, prevention strategies, and current research. In the fight against dengue and Aedes-borne arboviruses. Dengue is a viral disease caused by the dengue virus, transmitted primarily by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Symptoms include high fever, severe headache, pain behind the eyes, joint and muscle pain, rash, and mild bleeding, like nosebleeds or bruising. Severe cases can lead to dengue hemorrhagic fever or dengue shock syndrome, which are potentially life-threatening. Dengue is widespread in tropical and subtropical regions, especially in urban and semi-urban areas. Aedes-borne arboviruses refer to viruses transmitted by Aedes mosquitoes, which include the dengue virus, Zika virus, chikungunya virus, and yellow fever virus. These arboviruses, short for arthropod-borne viruses, are capable of causing a range of illnesses, from mild fever to severe neurological and hemorrhagic conditions. The spread of these viruses is facilitated by global travel, urbanization, and climate change, which increase mosquito habitats and extend the transmission season in many regions. Efforts to control Aedes mosquitoes, like vector control through insecticides, community awareness, and environmental management, are crucial for managing these diseases. Dengue and other Aedes-borne arboviruses are spread by specific mosquito species, notably Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus. Here's a closer look at how these mosquitoes and viruses function in the environment. 1. Species origins and role in disease. Aedes aegypti is originally from Africa, but has spread globally through human activity. It thrives in urban and semi-urban areas and is well adapted to human environments where it breeds in stagnant water found in containers like flower pots, buckets, and discarded tires. Aedes albopictus, also known as the Asian tiger mosquito, originated in Asia and is now found in many parts of the world. It is more resilient to cooler climates and can spread in rural and urban areas alike. Both species are daytime feeders, often biting multiple humans and thus efficiently spreading viruses. 2. Virus life cycle in mosquitoes. These mosquitoes carry arboviruses, arthropod-borne viruses, in their saliva. When a mosquito bites an infected person, it can acquire the virus, which then replicates in the mosquito's body. After an incubation period, the virus settles in the mosquito's salivary glands. When the mosquito bites another person, the virus is transmitted through the saliva. The life cycle of the virus depends on the mosquito's own life cycle. Female Aedes mosquitoes lay eggs in stagnant water, and eggs can survive for months in dry conditions until they encounter water, where they hatch and mature. 3. Environmental conditions supporting mosquito survival. Warm, Humid climates are ideal for Aedes mosquitoes and thus for the transmission of dengue, chikungunya, Zika, and yellow fever. Climate change is extending the range of these mosquitoes by making new regions warmer and more humid, thus increasing the potential for outbreak in previously unaffected areas. Managing dengue and other Aedes-borne diseases relies heavily on controlling mosquito breeding sites and limiting mosquito-human contact, especially during daytime hours when Aedes mosquitoes are most active. There are several species and types of dengue and Aedes-borne arboviruses, categorized by both the viruses themselves and the mosquito species that carry them. 1. Dengue virus. Dengue virus, DNV, has 4 distinct serotypes: DNV1, DNV2, DNV3, and DNV4. Infection with one serotype typically provides lifelong immunity to that specific serotype but not to others, which means a person can be infected up to 4 times with different serotypes. Subsequent infections by different serotypes increase the risk of severe dengue complications. 2. Other Aedes-borne arboviruses. Besides dengue, Aedes mosquitoes are primary vectors for several other important arboviruses. Zika virus, ZIKV, known for its impact on fetal development, causing congenital Zika syndrome when pregnant women are infected. Chikungunya virus, CHIKV, causes joint pain and fever, with symptoms that can persist for months. Yellow fever virus, YFV, leads to severe disease with high mortality rates. However, effective vaccines exist for yellow fever. Myrovirus, a lesser-known arbovirus with similar symptoms to chikungunya, found mainly in South America. 3. Aedes mosquito species. There are over 900 species within the Aedes genus, though only a few are primary vectors for human diseases. Aedes aegypti, known as the yellow fever mosquito, it is the main vector for dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever. Aedes albopictus, also called the Asian tiger mosquito, this species can transmit many of the same viruses as Aedes aegypti, although it is generally less efficient. These viruses and mosquito species pose significant public health challenges, especially in tropical and subtropical regions. Control measures focus on reducing mosquito populations and preventing bites to limit transmission. Aedes mosquitoes have adapted remarkably well to human environments, which contribute significantly to the spread of diseases like dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever. These mosquitoes use artificial breeding sites, small, stagnant water sources commonly found around human dwellings, such as water containers, buckets, and barrels, flower pots, plant saucers, and bird baths, discarded tires, plastic waste, and bottle caps. Because Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus mosquitoes require only a small amount of water to lay their eggs, even minimal sources of stagnant water can support their populations. This adaptability allows them to thrive in both urban and semi-urban areas where people provide abundant breeding grounds. In tropical regions, especially, this has led to year-round transmission potential, since the climate consistently supports mosquito survival and activity. Additionally, Aedes aegypti prefers to stay close to human habitats and tends to feed on humans, enhancing its efficiency as a disease vector. Urbanization and climate change have further expanded the range of these mosquitoes, making control efforts challenging. Reducing mosquito breeding sites through environmental management is crucial in controlling Aedes-borne diseases. To protect yourself from Aedes mosquitoes and reduce the risk of dengue and other Aedes-borne diseases, consider using a combination of personal protective strategies and environmental management practices. 1. Personal protection. Use mosquito repellents. Apply EPA-approved insect repellents containing ingredients like DEET, picaridin, or oil of lemon eucalyptus when outdoors or in areas where mosquitoes are active. Wear protective clothing. Long-sleeved shirts, long pants, socks, and shoes can help prevent bites. Opt for light-colored clothing, as Aedes mosquitoes are attracted to darker colors. Use bed nets and indoor protection. Sleeping under bed nets can help, especially in areas where dengue is prevalent. For added indoor protection, use window screens or keep doors and windows closed as much as possible. Consider mosquito repellent clothing. Some clothing is treated with permethrin, an insect repellent, which can offer additional protection. 2. Home and environmental management. Remove standing water. Aedes mosquitoes breed in small amounts of stagnant water. Regularly empty or remove items that can collect water, such as flower pots, buckets, and tires. Clean and scrub containers. Aedes eggs can stick to the walls of containers and survive for months. Clean, scrub, and refill water containers, such as pet bowls and bird baths, at least once a week. Cover water storage containers. Use tight-fitting lids to prevent mosquitoes from accessing and laying eggs in stored water. Use mosquito larvicides. In places where eliminating standing water is not feasible, larvicides can be used to kill mosquito larvae. 3. Community-level measures. Community cleanup. Organize community efforts to reduce mosquito breeding sites in public spaces, like parks, construction sites, and gutters. Education and awareness. Inform others about the risks of Aedes-borne diseases and preventive measures to encourage widespread adoption of mosquito control practices. 4. Vaccination, where available. Dengue vaccination. In some regions, vaccines like Dengvaxia are available for individuals who have had a prior dengue infection. However, consult a healthcare provider, as these vaccines may be limited to certain age groups and regions. Following these steps can help reduce mosquito populations and lower the risk of mosquito-borne diseases, especially in high-risk areas. Dengue and Aedes-borne arboviruses, including Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever, significantly impact public health globally, leading to high morbidity and mortality rates. 1. Dengue mortality and morbidity. Dengue is the most common Aedes-borne virus, infecting approximately 400 million people worldwide each year. With around 100 million symptomatic cases and an estimated 40,000 deaths annually. Severe dengue, or dengue hemorrhagic fever, can lead to fatal complications like organ failure and shock, especially without timely medical care. The disease burden is highest in tropical and subtropical regions, affecting countries in Asia, Latin America, and Africa. 2. Other Aedes-borne arboviruses. Zika. Although Zika has a lower mortality rate, it has severe consequences for fetal development when pregnant women are infected, potentially leading to congenital Zika syndrome, including microcephaly. The long-term social and healthcare impacts of Zika outbreaks are significant, especially in affected countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. Chikungunya. Chikungunya causes prolonged joint pain, which can severely affect quality of life, though mortality rates are generally low. The economic impact of chikungunya is substantial, as outbreaks strain healthcare systems and impact productivity. Yellow fever. Yellow fever can be fatal in about 30 to 60% of severe cases, and major outbreaks have occurred in Africa and South America. Vaccination programs have reduced fatalities, but outbreaks still pose a significant threat in areas with low vaccine coverage. 3. Economic and social impact. The broader economic impact of these viruses includes costs for healthcare, loss of productivity, and impact on tourism. The economic burden of dengue alone is estimated at billions of dollars annually. Efforts to control Aedes mosquitoes and manage outbreaks require substantial resources, which can strain health systems in affected countries. In summary, Aedes-borne viruses are a substantial factor in the global disease burden, with dengue being the most deadly among them. The death toll and social impact underscore the need for effective mosquito control, disease management, and vaccination programs where available. Effective treatments and preventive measures are essential in managing dengue and other Aedes-borne diseases. Although there are currently no specific antiviral treatments for these viruses, supportive care and symptom management can help improve outcomes. Here's an overview of the best approaches to save lives. 1. Supportive care and symptom management for dengue. Hydration, fluid replacement is critical in managing dengue, especially in severe cases where dehydration can lead to shock. Oral rehydration solutions ORS or intravenous, 4. Fluids are used to maintain electrolyte balance. Pain and fever relief acetaminophen paracetamol is recommended to relieve pain and reduce fever as it is safe for people with dengue. Aspirin and NSAIDs like ibuprofen are avoided due to the risk of bleeding complications. Monitoring for severe symptoms. Patients with severe dengue require hospitalization to monitor and manage symptoms such as bleeding, difficulty breathing, and low blood pressure. Intensive care may be needed for those with dengue hemorrhagic fever or dengue shock syndrome. 2. Emerging antiviral and immune therapies. Research is ongoing for antiviral treatments targeting dengue and other Aedes-borne viruses. For example, favipiravir and balopiravir have shown potential in early studies against dengue, but these are still under clinical investigation. Monoclonal antibodies, antibody therapies, such as those using monoclonal antibodies, are being explored to target dengue virus, aiming to neutralize the virus early in infection and prevent severe disease. 3. Vaccination for prevention. Dengue vaccines, Dengvaxia, approved in several countries, is effective for people with prior dengue infection. It reduces severe disease risk in these individuals but is not recommended for those without prior exposure due to a potential risk of severe dengue upon a subsequent natural infection. Yellow fever vaccine. A highly effective yellow fever vaccine is available and provides lifelong immunity, reducing yellow fever outbreaks in endemic areas. Zika and chikungunya vaccines. Vaccines for Zika and chikungunya are in clinical trials, with several promising candidates but no widely available vaccines yet. 4. Public health and preventive measures. Mosquito control programs. Controlling mosquito populations is a primary strategy. Techniques include insecticide-treated nets and indoor residual spraying. Community programs to eliminate standing water. Personal protection, using repellents, wearing protective clothing, and using screens and nets are recommended to prevent bites. 5. Research on novel therapies. Studies on immune-modulating drugs and antiviral agents aim to develop more targeted therapies to reduce mortality rates. New treatments like RNA interference, RNAi, approaches, which target viral replication within the host cells, are also being explored. While supportive care is currently the best practice for dengue and Aedes-borne diseases, the advancement of antiviral drugs and vaccines holds promise for better management and prevention in the future. In the video, we covered several important points regarding dengue and Aedes-borne arboviruses. We discussed the transmission of these viruses through mosquito bites, the symptoms of dengue, which can range from mild to severe, and the importance of prevention measures such as eliminating standing water and using mosquito repellents. We also touched on the global impact of dengue and the efforts being made to control mosquito populations. We encourage you to share your experiences with dengue and any insights you've gained regarding Aedes-borne arboviruses in the comments below. Your stories could help raise awareness and provide valuable information to others. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to our channel for more informative content. Thank you for watching.